Okay, so we're going to start programming in our bassline onto the actual MIDI data now. So we need 8 bars for this, so I'm just going to duplicate across our drum section. So if we just highlight our drums, Alt key, and we can just click this bottom right box. Just zoom in a bit here. And we can just repeat that across to the end of the 8th bar. And then if we just, I'm going to create 2 bar sections. So I'm going to highlight across 2 bars and then double click on our distorted bass to get a 2 bar section, and we can loop this round by making sure our loop is on and our loop locators are set. So I'm going to go in, so this is where we're going to start our bass line. So I'm going to set our quantize to 1/4, as our notes will be nice and slow, and it's the automation that's actually going to change in our track. So we're going to start off at D1 here on our keyboard. And we'll set it again here, and we'll jump up a couple notes. And what you've got to keep in mind in here is that in dubstep, the bassline changes between this kind of bass and another bass. So the gaps that we've got set in here are there for a reason. We'll be jumping to a different kind of bassline, or maybe a reversed drum sample or something like that there, just to fill that gap out. So we've got this bassline set in. So the next thing I'm going to do is add a bit of automation to it. And if we just extend the options down here, I'm going to go in and select more. And we're going to go to our silent one, and what we want to grab from here is our LFO. Here we go, our LFO 1 rate. We can just make this bigger. A bit of a problem with Cubase is it doesn't update particularly quick with the settings that you put in your automation here on Silent. So a quick way to see what's actually going on in Silent is to click on your rate, and it shows you what rate is actually set to there. So if we just push this down here, so we can see there we're at 1/16D, and any changes we do here will be reflected down there. So for our first beat, we're going to set it to 1/8. So we can actually do that manually because we're not changing anything. So at the minute we've got 16D, we've got Ds, we've got triplets, and we've got our sort of on our main note. So start at 1/8, and then at a particular section we'll jump up and change that. So we're going to hit the R button here so that we are writing onto this. So we've got our 1/8, and I'm just going to change our quantize here to a bit sharper, so we'll set it to 1/8. And here I'm going to add a change. What we want to do is jump up to 1/8 triplet. Which I think we did. So we can see down here we've jumped up to 1/8 triplet. And then in the next beat of the bar, we want to change it to a 16th. So that's too fast. We jumped up to 1/32. Do it again. So you can see how it can be a tiny bit fiddly in Cubase. Again, we're not even on that 16th yet. There's a 16th now. And when we get to the next note that jumps up, we want to drop back down to another setting. So I'm going to set this down here to a different triplet. There's a half. Set it to a half triplet. So I'll have a listen to that section. And then when we come back in here, we'll stick it right back up to where we were before. So actually need to make our quantize a bit sharper. So we'll set this to 1/32. So we'll start at 16th. And we can obviously automate this down. It doesn't have to stay on that same rate for any amount of time. We can change this, so we can bring it down to maybe something like a 16th, 1/16D. And then we can go back up again. We'll try an 8th triplet or something. Okay, so that is our first 2-bar section programmed in. So we've got it jumping from an 8th here to an 8th triplet to a 16th down to a half triplet, and then coming in from where we got an 8th triplet again. I think we're meant to go, like, set it to whatever you want. So we've got an 8th triplet down to, set it to 16th. So we've got to come from a 16th down to a 8th triplet. In the next tutorial, what we'll do is we'll create our second bar section, our second 2-bar section, and we'll add some more automation to that.